Good afternoon, everyone. I'm meteorologist James Longwith with Dynamic Weather Agency LLC, and today we don't really have much to talk about as in a winter weather. Our next system that we're expecting to move its way out of Canada is expected to move its way in late Wednesday into Thursday, bringing some snowfall to parts of the upper plains and the upper Midwest before transitioning its way to the east. But first, before we get into today's video, I do want to encourage you guys to hit that like button down below and subscribe to our channel and share this video with your friends and family. Also, be sure to check us out on social media where you can send us your weather-related photos and videos, and we would love to share those in our next video. The links to all of those pages can be found below down in the description, and also visit us online at dynamicweatheragency.com for more weather-related information. Last but not least, be sure to check out our Patreon page where you can help support this channel so I can continue to make weather-related content like this or storm chasing videos like you can see down below. Not only that, they will also help fund some of our research efforts that we have here at Dynamic Weather Agency LLC. We have many different tiers or packages for you guys to choose from, ranging all the way from $1 to $20. We have many perks. You can check those out. Again, link is going to be down below in the description to our Patreon channel. Not only that, we are also looking for channel and page sponsors. If you're interested in that, inquire to us by emailing us at dynamicweather@outlook.com. So taking a look at our current national radar, as we take a look across the U.S., for the most part, conditions are quite quiet, especially across the central U.S. As we take a look at the northwest up in Washington and Oregon, you can see some of those rain showers occurring in parts of Seattle, just west of Portland. And as we move east to Seattle, you can see in some of those mountains, you can see some of the snowfall that's occurring in some of those higher elevation regions. And then as we zoom back out and take a look across the northeast, you can see some of those light snow showers we have occurring across parts of New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and western Maine this afternoon. And then as we take a look at the southeast, we do have some rain showers across the southeast and the mid-Atlantic occurring this afternoon. You can see some of those snow showers occurring across parts of Tennessee and parts of Nashville, Memphis, Tennessee, and Paris, all seeing some light snow showers this afternoon, while places like Montgomery and Columbia and Charlotte, you're all seeing some light rain showers occurring right now this afternoon. Now, taking a look at our national forecast for the next 72 hours, again, we're not expecting much as in major winter weather conditions. Again, we're expecting to see some of those wet conditions continuing to occur across parts of the northwest with that atmospheric river that we've been talking about in previous videos. So I think we actually mentioned it about a week ago. We expect to see some of those wet conditions and some of those mountain snow conditions continue for about a week. We're still seeing those conditions continue. Again, across the northwest, some wet conditions continuing with that atmospheric river, some mountain snow conditions, and then we're going to see some rain begin to develop with this short wave and this cold front that'll begin to move through. That's going to be our next snowmaker that's going to move into parts of the upper Midwest and into the upper Great Plains region later this week, probably late Wednesday into Thursday. We saw on our radar, we've seen some of those light snow showers across parts of New York, Vermont, and Maine, expecting some flurries, possibly some light dusting conditions later on this week. Tomorrow, probably into the next day, we could see some lake effect snow conditions possibly develop across parts of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. Again, we're seeing some of those light snow showers across parts of Tennessee. These were down in Mississippi and northern Alabama, now moved its way into Tennessee, beginning to see some of those light snow showers. Again, probably see some flurries, maybe some very light dusting with this, but probably not going to see any accumulating snow with this as the system continues to modify with some warm air advection moving in with this low pressure system, with those ring conditions further to the south across parts of Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and even into parts of North Carolina. And we're even seeing some of that occur in parts of Virginia. Now, as we take a look at our National Weather Service's current hazards, our watches, warnings, and advisories, we do have some winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings still in effect for parts of Mississippi, some advisories in Alabama, some advisories in parts of Arkansas, but all these are set to expire later on this afternoon and evening. We're still seeing some of those winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings in parts of the Northwest and parts of Washington State, with some of those mountains and some of that heavy snowfall that's occurring in the higher elevations, as we saw some of that snow occurring over there on our radar. And we are still continuing to see flood watch conditions in that area, as this area has been experiencing some heavy rain over the past couple of days. I mean, even into the past week. With that, like we mentioned, we have been seeing this atmospheric river and all these short waves be pushing into this region that's causing some of this heavy rainfall. Now, as in for our winter storm severity index, we're not seeing much. Pretty much we're only seeing impacts today across parts of Mississippi and Alabama with some of that snowfall that was moving on through. Other than that, for the next 2 to 3 days, the next day or two, tomorrow and into Wednesday, we're not seeing much as in our winter severity index, except for some of those severities up in the northwest, again, with some of that snowfall that's occurring in some of those higher elevations in that region. We're not having any major winter storm impacts. Now, taking a look at our forecasted accumulated snowfall for the next 72 hours, again, we're not expecting to see much. We don't have any major winter systems pushing its way through. That major winter storm that pushed its way through parts of New Mexico, Colorado, Texas, and even to parts of Louisiana, bringing some heavy snowfall to that region, has begun to modify. Seen some warm air advection with that. We're not seeing much snowfall with that, so not expecting to see any more snow really with that, or any really major accumulating snow with that system as it continues to push its way eastward across the United States. In the northeast, we're not expecting much with the snowfall over there, but we are expecting to see some lake effect conditions that will develop in New York. Other than that, across parts of the northwest, again, we're pretty much only seeing some of those mountain snow conditions with some of that snowfall occurring in some of those higher elevations, where you can see in Washington State where some areas can see up to 2 feet of snow. As I mentioned, within the next 72 hours, we are expecting some lake effect snow bands to begin to develop in parts of New York, with an area of 1 to 3 inches to develop across parts of Lake Erie. And then on Lake Ontario, we're expecting some higher snowfall totals with some 3 to 5 in that region. Now, as I mentioned, I've been talking a little bit about this atmospheric river, and we talked about this quite a few videos ago, talking about this atmospheric river that's been, pounding its way across the western U.S. And you can see those very strong winds across the Pacific, troughing across the Pacific, and then slamming its way into the western U.S. And this is creating, this is what's causing some of those really wet conditions that we're seeing in some of that mountain snow. And this is expected to still continue for the next couple of days. We're expecting a confined threat for heavy snow to the higher elevation areas in this region of the Olympics and the northern Cascades, with several feet of snow that could be expected by Wednesday evening, as we saw on our 72-hour snowfall map. Through late Tuesday, there is some threat for some locally heavy snow accumulations across the higher elevations of the northeastern Washington and the northeastern Oregon mountains into the Rockies. However, the potential is expected to increase on Wednesday as a well-defined trough and shortwave begins to drive a strong cold front into the region. And this cold front is going to be supported by this Alberta Clipper system that's going to be bringing some of that snowfall and some of those rain conditions that we saw in our national forecast map, that's going to begin to move its way into parts of those upper plains and the upper Midwest past our 72-hour forecast. That's going to be bringing some snow for then. So that's going to be our next system that we're going to be looking out for. And speaking of those short waves and taking a look at our 500 millibar vorticity, this is a loop of that. And you can just see these strong areas of vorticity just slamming into the western coast, providing some of that upward vertical motion, that enhanced lift across this area in that strong atmospheric river. You can just see this in this loop, just constantly that west coast is just getting slammed by system after system. And this is expected to continue to persist for, the next couple of days. So taking a look at the European model, the high resolution European model, taking a look at precipitation type and its hourly rate and sea level pressure. Taking a look at the low pressure system that's located over the lower Mississippi Valley. This is from earlier this morning. You had that system that was down here. This is that major winter storm we were talking about in our previous video that was bringing some of that heavy snowfall to parts of Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, and even stretched its way all the way into Louisiana. Is beginning to modify as we go forward into time with some of that warm air advection, and we see that begin to transition more into rain. Now, pay attention to the northwest. The northwest is going to experience some very heavy rain, some snowfall occurring in parts of the higher elevations of the Cascade Mountain region over the next couple of days. But as we get into Wednesday, late Wednesday into Thursday, you see this low pressure system that begins to develop. And this is what we call a clipper system, an Alberta clipper system. Now, these systems are a little bit different than our other low pressure systems, like our Colorado lows and our Gulf lows. Those are ones that bring normally heavy snowfall amounts just because of the draw of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico with the southerly winds out ahead of that low pressure system. Now, these lows up here, these typically be lighter snowfall makers, as in, they're so far away from a major moisture source to bring some heavy snowfall totals. Now, not going to say these systems can't bring very heavy snowfall totals. These systems tend to bring lighter snowfall totals than our Gulf and Colorado lows. That's like we've been seeing, that's been bringing some of those very heavy moisture and those high snowfall totals that we've been seeing impacting parts of the Northeast, and even into parts of some of the Midwest and Ohio Valley region, and even to the Upper Great Plains with some of our previous systems. But this is our first true, real good clipper system. But as we look in Thursday morning, this is Thursday morning, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can see that low pressure system begin to, just to the north of North Dakota, begin to bring snowfall to the Upper Great Plains. And the system is going to slowly move its way to the south and to the east into the upper Midwest by late Thursday. So moving through Friday, you can see that system begin to stretch its way further into the upper Midwest, impacting parts of the, upper Midwest and Midwest and the upper Mississippi Valley region. We move in through Saturday. This is Saturday, 1 a.m. You can see that system continuing to move its way across parts of the Great Lakes region. As we move in through Sunday, you'll see that system begin to move out. This nice cold front digging across parts, just off the East Coast. Now, with this Alberta clipper system, you guys are probably wondering, how much snowfall am I going to see with this event? I'm going to show you guys two solutions. I want to show you first the European high resolution models accumulated snowfall, and then I'm also going to show you the National Weather Service's blend of models. Now, with this system, I'm not going to give you guys an actual forecast. This is just a model solution of what the model thinks is going to happen. Now, the reason why we're not going to give a forecast is this event is still really far out. Now, the low isn't expected to develop until late Wednesday into Thursday, and the system isn't going to impact this upper Great Plains, upper Midwest region until parts of Thursday through Saturday, which is very far out for the models to get a good handle on snowfall totals. Now, these snowfall totals could be exaggerated a little bit more on the higher end, so this is more of a worst case scenario, as I would say, probably for right now. We'll probably see some of these totals tone themselves back as we get closer to this event, as models this far out typically tend to over exaggerate snowfall totals just a little bit, except for the National Weather Service blend of models tends to underdo it just a little bit. But as we take a look at the European model, a high swath of snowfall ranging anywhere from 8 to about 12 inches in parts of eastern North Dakota and South Dakota and extreme northeastern South Dakota, and then impacting parts of northern Minnesota with this next event. And as I mentioned, now as we take a look at the National Weather Service's blend of models, you can see quite a difference between the European high resolution model and the National Weather Service's blend of models. Like I said, this model typically underperforms just a little bit, and the European model is overperforming quite a bit as of right now. I expect the European model to tone back its snowfall totals, and we'll continue to discuss this as we post more videos as we get closer to this event. I expect to see the National Weather Service blend of models to increase snowfall totals just a little bit as we get closer to this event. But this is just showing you just the two different scenarios or outcomes that we could see with this. National Weather Service blend of models is not expecting much snowfall. We're expecting to see, 1 to 2 inches of snow across parts of Minnesota, Iowa, and Wisconsin, with some areas seeing some 3 to 5. We'll have to continue to monitor this because, as I said, weather models this far out just don't perform that well. And if we was to look at the GFS model, the GFS model is kind of like a in-between of the National Weather Service blend of models and the European model. And then the UK Met is kind of similar to this National Weather Service's blend of models, which is a little bit higher snowfall totals further to the north in Canada, with some of those totals decreasing as the system moves across the parts of the upper Midwest. So we'll have to continue to monitor the system as we get closer. And last but not least, taking a look at our severe weather forecast for the next couple of days. We're not expecting any severe weather within the next 5 days. Again, I would like to thank you guys for checking out today's video. Be sure to hit that like button and share this video with your friends and family. If you haven't already, check us out on social media and our website. Those links are down below in the description. I am meteorologist James Longwith signing off. Have a great day.